could predict, Alex Crook, that we'd be hearing from Everton fans tonight, but not in a good way. Protest banners outside the training ground tonight. They are not happy.
And you can understand that. You know, you look at the deals they have been trying to get through the door. You've mentioned Ayew already. I'm not even sure he'd get a work permit, by the way, because he's been playing in Qatar. That's now a Category 6 league, so that might be difficult for him to get a work permit, even if they can agree on personal terms. And the other player they've been trying to sign in the last hour or so is Ismaila Sarr at Watford. That was a loan deal, £2 million the offer, with an obligation to buy if Everton stayed up. Why on earth would Watford, who are competing for promotion from the Championship, agree to let one of their best players go for a paltry £2 million guaranteed? And I tell you what, I've been speaking to a lot of people trying to get deals done this week, a lot of board members of various Premier League clubs. Everton have been at the table for a lot of deals, and actually they've been a hindrance to some of those clubs around them trying to sign players, because the feeling amongst other clubs is that Everton are offering to buy players, but they don't have the funds to see those deals through. I think these are worrying times for Everton.
The fact is, Simon, incidentally, on the Watford-Everton thing too, there's a bit of bad blood there that stretches back.
Of course, back to Marco Silva, yeah.
With the Marco Silva days. But everybody else around them seems to be doing business, so why aren't they?
Because they're not a desirable proposition in the minds of players coming to a club that's in disarray, with fans at the board. Reports of fans going at players. I mean, some of those players have now gone. Anthony Gordon being one of the players in point, and Mina being another one where fans have interacted with. So you look at it and say there's a degree of uncertainty. If you're a player and you've already got yourself in a situation where you're a moderately decent football club, why would you step out of the frying pan into a potential fire? Now, Everton of old, and Everton, in my mind's eye, wouldn't have this conundrum, but this is a real challenge for Everton now, because they're in the bottom two because they deserve to be.
Yeah.
They're in the bottom two because it's been a long time in the making. The irony of the fans standing outside the training ground getting irate and putting banners up there is the one thing that this fellow has done is spend money.
Yeah, but not tonight, he hasn't.
No, he
Look
hasn't.
Down at the bottom, Simon. Southampton set to spend over 60 mil. Bournemouth on course for 70 million.
Yeah.
They're fighting for their lives. They're spending.
And understandably so. But they have not spent anywhere near what Everton spent over the period of time that Fahad Mashiri's been there. You know, you've got a relatively new owner at Southampton, you've got a brand new owner at Bournemouth. It would be preposterous to think that the Bournemouth owner wasn't going to come in, given the statements he's made, and then back it up with some cash. So Southampton are in a situation where they're able to do this because of an ownership model. Mashiri, whatever people may or may not think, Everton are in special measures. They cannot just go out and unload cash. They have to have a deal with the Premier League to be able to sell players, to be able to get players in. Now, you would have thought Anthony Gordon would have facilitated that solution.
Yeah.
The problem
Especially with 40 million cash.
The problem is who they're going for. Why would Conor Gallagher go to Everton at this stage in his career? There's no upside for Conor Gallagher. There's only downsides for him. He's going to go into a challenging environment. He's going to go into a space and place where everything's at it. And Sean Dyche must have priced this into his thinking. Now, the thing for me that worries me in that perspective, because I believe that Sean Dyche has the chops to get them out of it, but has the conversation moved on from that? Actually, Sean Dyche has been told, don't worry, because actually we are quite happy, or we're moderately balanced in our thinking that if you do go down, you can bring us back up. Because my brief would have been to Sean Dyche, under no circumstances do we go down.
Exactly.
I don't know if there's a tacit acceptance amongst Fahad Mashiri, and I certainly wouldn't imagine Bill Kenwright, because of these links with Everton, that this might be a reality. I don't think it is. I think Dyche will get them up by their bootstraps. He'll get Tarkowski defending properly. He'll get Dwight McNeil at it, and he'll get some of those players front and centre on the front foot, doing a little bit more than they are doing.
So you think they've got enough to stay up? James,
just about.
James is an Everton fan who's desperate to come on and join us. James, do you think what you've got will keep you in the Premier League?
Not a chance. Genuinely not a chance. That crop of players that we've got right now, they have no fight. We need fresh faces in this football club today. The club have stood still. Fahad Mashiri has stood still. Bill Kenwright is always standing still. Denise Barron-Baxendale is always standing still. Kevin Felwell, what is he employed to do? What is he doing? Get them all out today. And I don't care if I'm Mashiri, the next thing I want to hear from you, you can ring this talkSPORT up, you can ring them all up. The next thing I want to hear from your voice is, I am putting Everton Football Club up for sale immediately.
You sound as if you're seething, James.
It's a disgrace. What has happened today is an absolute disgrace. And do you know what? I heard about the flags outside the training ground. Do you know what? Just we wait till Saturday. It's an absolute joke, is this? This club cannot go on with this owner and this board. I don't even know what the board do anymore. What is Bill Kenwright doing? We always hear, oh, he's poorly. Bye then. Leave. Resign. Leave with some dignity.
Of course, your anger's
really
compounded by the fact, James, that Southampton are set to spend 60 million plus. Bournemouth on course to spend 70 million plus.
That's a sad state of affairs when people are choosing Southampton Football Club over Everton Football Club. That tells you everything you need to know what Farhad Moshiri has done to this.
Were you in for the same players then?
With Bill Kenwright.
You were in for the same players?
Yeah, Kaladim Sulemana, the player who's going to Southampton.
James, listen, thanks for the call. Honestly, Alex, that would be the tip of the iceberg, I would have thought, that's coming their way, the Everton board's way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the case of Sulemana, I was told by people close to the deal that Everton just weren't an attractive proposition. If he's choosing to join Southampton, who themselves are deep in relegation trouble, and not Everton, I think it probably backs up the points you were making, Simon.
And I get the point that the fans making. I get the frustration and exasperation, right? But this is part of the reason potentially why players might not want to join the club. Now, whether you like it or you don't, let's be clear: Everton's up for sale. Farhad Moshiri may tell you that it's up for sale only on the basis or the fact that what he wants is investment for the new stadium.
Yeah, it's
up for sale. Right? The reasons why Peter Kenyon was kicking tyres last year is because it was up for sale. He just couldn't raise the cash. Now, they're calling for the ball to be gotten out. Again, I keep making this argument. It's not because I have any skin in the game with Bill Kenwright. I could care less about Kevin Thirlwall. I could care less about Denise. The bottom line is Thirlwall's job is to recruit players, and Farhad Moshiri's job is to select them and pay for them. Everyone else in the middle is an incidental. The director of football chooses the players, the manager's an incumbent says I'll have them, and the owner signs the cheque. So where this vitriol needs to go elsewhere doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. You don't like Bill Kenwright, he's been there for too long, hasn't put enough money in, fine. But if you genuinely believe that Kenwright and Denise are making decisions about which players come in, then you're away with yourself.
But you heard the caller there. He feels they've stood still.
Well, when you talk about stand still, look at the boardrooms around the country and tell me which of these boardrooms have very proactive people within the confines of them.
Simon, I know you. On the last day of transfer window, you would have your other board members absolutely in unison flying. Well,
I wouldn't.
You would be.
No, I wouldn't.
You would be
No,
flying.
I wouldn't. I would be, and so would Farhad Moshiri, who's director of football, if that's what... Because there's no doubt about it. Moshiri's made all the decisions. You can point your finger wherever else you want, but everybody that's got half a brain knows that Moshiri's made all the decisions. They happen to be, on the majority of the time, stinkers.
Well, where's the evidence of their productivity today?
Well, what productivity are you asking them to do? You've got a director of football. Bill Kenwright and Denise and Graeme Sharp are nothing to do with the acquisition policy. That's a director of football saying, I found a player. Sean Dyche, do you want it? With Moshiri, will you write the cheque? That's the line of command that's happening on this particular transaction. Anyone else is incidental. All they want to do is vent their spleen. Now, what you've got now is what you've got. Would you prefer to have a demonstration and vilify everybody that's there, create a toxic atmosphere for the games on Saturday and the games that are coming up?
That won't help.
It won't help anybody. It doesn't help anything. It does not help a single thing. I understand it's their football club. I understand that they feel enraged by the whole set of experiences that they're having. But that's not going to solve anything. That will get you that extra 2 yards of steps into the Championship.
But they're terrified they're going to get hiding from this point onwards. And they might just this Saturday, live on talkSPORT at 12:30 at home to Arsenal.
Well, and it's a pertinent question that you asked. What have the board been doing today? I reached out to somebody close to Everton probably about 3 hours ago and said it's definitely quiet. What's going on? And I got back, they're scrambling around. Should an institution like Everton Football Club be, quote, scrambling around on transfer deadline day? Where's the plan?
But they're a busted flush. You can talk about the plan in a lot of football clubs, but they're a busted flush. They cannot get targets that they want because they're not a desirable proposition for players to go and sign to. Now, most of that is because the team stinks. The other part of it is because their owner's gormless and hasn't made decisions that give you any confidence. But there's also another part, which is the toxicity reverberates around this football club.
So why are Bournemouth and Southampton more desirable than Everton tonight?
Because at this moment in time, Bournemouth are a different proposition. They've just come up from the Championship. They've got a new owner with a new regime, and he's feeling differently about the football club, and the fans are feeling differently about him. Southampton fans, 2 weeks ago, were telling Nathan Jones that he didn't have a clue and to get out of their football club. So let's have it right. It's not unique to Everton. Just the volume is up at Everton because Everton is a far bigger football club than both of those football clubs put together, and is arguably one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League because of its longevity of service in there, its consistency, and the expectation of its fan base.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.